Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Show live interview. Business Boys presents. We have Armineh here today for a live interview. I'm really excited for this episode. Welcome as well, Serena. We're both here, ready to go and excited, correct?
Thank you. I'm very excited. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and I was just unmuting something before I turned my on. Hi everyone, how are you? Good to see you on this lovely day, evening, wherever you are, center of the earth.
Yeah, it's evening here in Toronto. Nice.
Totally. So for today's episode, guys, what I want you to do is I want you to start sharing the stream right now, because more people need to hear this information that we're going to be going through today. Armineh is an absolute wealth of knowledge, and you do not, like, more people need to be hearing this information. So I want you guys to share the stream out so more people can see it, as well as, you know, if you know somebody who's in business right now, I want you to comment and tag their name in this post so they can check it out as well. So not only share, but tag them as well, because we want to ensure that everyone is getting this information as much as possible. Just a quick little intro of Armineh. Armineh is the founder of CEO of Wealth and Wellness Global, and a coaching company that encourages living abundantly. Armineh is an author and a speaker on international stages as far as Dubai, and has spoken on stages with people like Dr. Phil, Michael Douglas, Mel Gibson, Charlie Sheen, and many other celebrities as well. Armineh has been featured in magazines such as The Powerful and The Woman Entrepreneur. She's been awarded the top female entrepreneur of the year in 2018. Armineh is a recipient of Women of Inspiration Award across Canada in 2019, and now she is a national ambassador. Armineh says, "My courage, perseverance, adversity, passion, and triumph inspire me to tell the world that everything is possible if you just take the first step. Be true to who you are, because the world needs you." Welcome so much to the call, Armineh. I was so excited about this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is so wonderful. Thank you.
So I've done a fair intro for you, but for those people that may not know you and might want a further expansion on you, your company, what you do, how you help people, etc., can you just give them a bit of an overview?
Of course. I believe in living abundantly in any way possible, that is financially, emotionally, spiritually. I believe that we got to do whatever we got to do and whatever we want to do. So I have based my life on that. I always followed my heart, and it takes a lot of courage, a lot of determination to do that. But I am very inspired to share this message, to tell everyone, do what your heart desires. Tomorrow is gone. We don't know what tomorrow is. Take the step today that gives you that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of success, that feeling of gratitude, that feeling of importance. Whatever that is important to you, just do that, because then life gives you much more. I guarantee you. Life, I've been on the wealth path and on the spiritual path all my life. And I always say I am firmly grounded on earth and yet connected to the divine. And I go with my own rules. I love making money. I love making money for people. That is one side. But what about inner peace, inner wisdom, inner confidence? All of that I'm also supporting. So my company does that. Whatever you need, you want to create your desired life, we help you with that. If you want to have more money, we help you with that. You want to have more peace of mind, we help you with that. Because money by itself is nothing. Money is just a means. It's just an energy to have what you want. And it's good to have money. I totally believe in having money. But then if you're only chasing the tail to make millions and millions and billions, and you are not paying attention to your emotional well-being or to your family, then money, to me, it's not worth it. So creativity, wealth, energy, all of these things. I can go on and on. So you ask me some more specific questions, Jarrod.
Totally. And look, let's before we get into that as well, what I want to ask is, like, what made you get started in business? Like, what specifically made you decide to get started? I know everyone's got an interesting story, and I love hearing this.
I started, well, let me go back to the beginning. I came to Canada as a teenager with my sister, and she was younger than me. So we had no one. We couldn't speak English. I just wanted to be in an English-speaking country. We came from the Middle East, and we had no family. We couldn't speak English. It was very difficult. And all I had was what I call my 3Ds, my desire, my determination, and my dedication. I was very interested in making the future that I wanted to make. So we did that. Everything is not easy. Everything, it's not just handed to you on a silver platter. So you gotta go after your dreams. And that's what I did. That's what she did. Right now, she's married in California. She's a CA. She works with the government and all that. But I am here in Toronto. Matter of fact, I wanted to be in advertising, but life had a different plan for me. I got into wealth management and financial planning, and I loved it. And what I thought was, it's just so fascinating. But what was happening, my clients were telling me about details of their lives, minute details, that it was very important, but it was not important for a financial plan. And it felt like I was their counselor, not only for their money, but overall. And then I decided to put all of my wisdom, my experience, my knowledge together as a company that encourages living abundantly. So if you make $25,000 a year, or $2.5 million a year, or $25 million a year, it doesn't matter. The human needs, the basic human needs are the same. We all want certain things. And that's what I'm here to share with people. I'm so excited and inspired.
I love that. And I'm sure everyone can feel your passion for the subject as well, which is the most exciting part. And thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate it. So like there was a few points there mentioned before, right? Like regardless of whether you're making 25 grand a year, you're making $25 million a year, right? You're here to help. Everyone's got the same human needs as such, is what you're saying. So like, is it all about money, right? Like, is it all about, like, does making money really make somebody happy? Like, I have to.
Money, honey.
I think like a lot of people, like there's, from my feeling is that a lot of people have a belief around money, right? That money's bad or whatever, right? And, you know, then wealthy people have a very different thought pattern on money. So what do you think is like, does money really make somebody happy, really? Like when you're talking about everyone has a basic need.
Well, what happens once your basic needs are taken care of, again, it could be $25,000 a year or $250,000 a year. But once your basic needs are taken care of, which actually, I think in States is about $25,000 and in Canada it's about $75,000. If you make that, your needs are taken care of. But beyond that, depends on the person. Sometimes people feel the need to have the money because it represents power to them. Sometimes it fills the void, and sometimes it becomes a game. A lot of very successful people who are very, it's just a game to them, and they love doing business. So it depends who you talk to. I have a billionaire coach, and he says, now you have to shift your thinking from being a millionaire to billionaire. How would a billionaire think? And it was so funny because yesterday I was working on my plan, one of my plans, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the answer to this? What's the answer? How can I solve this? I'm thinking, oh, how would a billionaire think about this? And it was such an interesting feeling for me because I never actually thought about that, because I have no desire to make billions. You know how much time it would take? If it comes, I'll take it, I'll welcome it, but it takes a lot of focus to make that kind of money. But then again, it's a different shift. I have a lot of clients who are and money is an issue, because once you get that kind of money, when you accumulate a lot of wealth and a lot of assets, then it's a matter of preserving it. You're not going to let it go. So you worry about preserving your money, and you worry if the market crashes or the real estate market crashes, of course. And then the ones who don't have a lot, they're also thinking, I don't have a lot. How am I going to make it? I'm going to retire. I'm going to feed the kids. I'm going to leave a legacy. there is a wide range, a very wide range, but they're all works out to be that they're worried. They're worried. I have answers for them, but then depends how you look at it. It really depends on your personal mindset of how you view money. Sometimes certain people think money is evil. If that's what you think, then you will never make a lot of money. I don't think money is evil. I think money is good to get, to give, to receive, to share. It depends on your mindset. I cannot categorize, like put everybody in the same boat. It depends who's asking, depends what their situation is. But one thing I can tell you, we cannot put all the people in one group right now to say, because of COVID-19, everybody's suffering. They may be suffering, but somebody who's got no job, no savings, no assets, with 2 kids, they're suffering, they have no money. Right now, the government gives emergency money in Canada, about $2,000 a month. But let's say if you have no money, no assets, you haven't been able to save up anything. Yes, that's hard because you can't even eat. But then there are people who got millions. Well, they can survive for at least a few years. Then they don't want to lose, they want to preserve their assets. So then again, depends who it is and what they want. Everybody's unique, everybody's different.
That's actually a conversation I had yesterday here in Bali. So, Bali is a lower currency. So, cost of living, even though for people that come like tourists and stuff like that, it's more easier because the money they bring in spends a lot more here. But the people who live here, it's the same as living in every country. Most our system is designed to keep us in living day by day or week by week or whatever. Our conditioning and all that is, get married, buy a house, be in debt, be in debt, be in debt. So if something happens and, they get sick or they lose a job and they don't have insurance, then the thing is they're going to, suffer and have trouble coping. So I noticed here yesterday between 2 different people, one person was a driver, and of course he tried his best to go out and sell fruit and stuff like that, but he had no savings, and he puts himself in debt by getting a better car, so he had nothing. And then the other one had saved all his life, been putting, so much away, and he actually just bought a house. This is here in Bali, a Balinese, just bought a house right through the COVID times. And, and that's sort of like a bit of a difference, I guess, between whether you save like for a rainy day, like, oh, okay, this, this is how long will this last for? All right, I've got enough money to get me through to such and such, so we'll be fine. To the others that are like, oh my God, where am I going to get food to put next on my table? So it is, like what you said, and there's quite a difference in between the 2 types.
Exactly. If people don't save from the beginning, it's very difficult to start saving later on, but they're going to lose out a lot on compounding. But if you are not in a habit of saving and investing, normally you would not continue saving. Although there are cases where you would start, but people most of the times go back to their habits. They fall back to their habits. We have a workshop on that, how to create new habits and be a successful entrepreneur. The thing is that sometimes I find people, they just need guidance. Sometimes they don't know that if they did this or that, they could end up much better. A lot of times someone could be very focused in their head about something that it's not really important. But to point out, to say, have you even thought about this? Oh my God, no, because I'm so in my head. That's what we do. We are always in our heads. But take a step back and take an inventory, I would like to say. Take an inventory of your thoughts. What are you thinking? How are you thinking? Why are you thinking that? Are you thinking, oh, I'm going to retire and I'm going to be old and lonely and no money? Or you're going to say, no, I'm going to leave a legacy. I mean, not very many people stop and think that. So I like to challenge you to say, what are your thoughts in the next 4 or 5 years? How is your vision? What do you think? We can never plan, and the plan goes exactly the way we want. Life always gives us something. But if you know, you have a sense of your future, how it's going to be. Let's say you say, I'm never going to be poor. I'm always going to travel. I'm going to eat what I want, wear what I want, have lots of money. If you come from that mindset, believe me, something will happen. You will get there because every day you will do something. But if you just daydream, of course, it's not going to happen. You have to take action, but you have to be interested in taking action. You have to love what you want to do. Otherwise, oh my God, I have to get up again. I have to do this. If that's the attitude, you would not get what you want. If you did get what you want, you would not be satisfied. You'd be very unhappy. And that's sometimes what people do. They make a lot of money because they think they have to make money, and they're not happy. But if you're happy because you love to do it, all the best to you, that's the best way to be.
Exactly.
And that goes with the focus. What you focus on is what you create. So, I mean, we have to have the yin and yang of the world. There's always going to be the people who just survive and complain about what they have, but keep doing what they have and doing nothing to change it and say, woe is me, you know, like, why can't I be like everybody else? But they can't, because the mindset's not there. They've already been conditioned from birth and had no way of changing it, you know, through maybe growing up or something. Whereas other people may even have been conditioned the same sort of way, but something inside them, which I think is like the entrepreneurs or something, that just, you know, takes them out of themselves and say, well, I think there's something better than this. And then they go and seek out where to find the information that makes a change in themselves. And I think we meet a lot of people like that, and their whole focus is, great, the world's going to be great tomorrow. Like now, yeah, that's okay. The world's going to be great tomorrow. You know, I'm, like you said, you know, I really want to get a car or a house. Focus, focus, focus. What you focus on is what you create. So I had to be very careful when I'm up in an aeroplane, you know, because I had a fear of flying. So I had to stop myself thinking, well, what's up there? Because what you focus on is what you create.
Yeah, exactly. So one reason it's fear that people don't want to do something, because they're afraid of failure, afraid of success, afraid of ridicule, afraid of judgment. That's a very big one in psychology. People don't want to do something that they're ridiculed, and they don't want to do something because they're judged. But the thing is, if we don't take steps, how do we know that it's going to work? You know. But one thing I like to share with you today is, I have found out about this maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. And what I have found out, apparently there is scientific truth to this as well, besides the energy, the energetic aspect of it, is that we are following our generations, 7 generations back. So whatever our generation is, we follow that 7 generations, and we carry that energy with us. And so it would take a lot of courage, a lot of determination, a lot of focus to be able to break free of that. Sometimes it's actual physical bondage, if we call it that. I'm not sure what other word to use. Bondage in a sense that we are bound with that energy, which I find is fascinating. You know how energy, I'm very sensitive to energy. I'm extremely intuitive and empathic, and I can feel energy, but to be stuck in that energy, that's a lot of weight, energetic weight, that is very difficult to have. That's why people sometimes, you know, they get into depression, they get into, I don't know, drug addictions and alcohol addictions, because it's a lot of weight they can't carry, and they're afraid they can't move on. And I feel that we can help if people are tired, if people are hopeful. That's another big thing that I think about. Hope. If you're inspired and hopeful, then there is a future. And hope comes from the fact that you are in charge. If you feel you're in charge, there is hope. So there's a lot of minute little things, and there's nuggets here and there that I feel whenever people are ready to take a step, we can help and inspire. And they have, like in my language, they say, if you take a step, the universe will pave the road for you. You know, I believe in the universe. So
Yeah,
I was just going to say, Jarrod, in regards to, I was thinking about people and the way they think at the moment, and a lot of people are carrying a lot of fear, and you know, they do what they need to do. They're still entrepreneurs and they're still doing their business, but they still carry that fear of, oh my God, is this going to work? And, you know, and they're trying to do so much. And then if they don't understand something, it starts to get them in overwhelm. And sometimes they sort of want to give up. And I've actually been there. But the secret, I think, you know, with it is as well, is it doesn't matter what's happening to you at any moment, that moment changes. And most of the time it's into a better moment. So keep pushing through everything and keep doing what you need to do. And once again, keep focusing, because it may not be feeling right now. And I've been through that, haven't I, Jarrod? Like, you know, tearing my hair out, overwhelmed so much, and you just want to give up. But just keep going, because the changes come the more you do and the more you focus. I was thinking all that while you were talking.
Exactly.
So.
It's very accurate. Of course, we got to keep pushing through. And one thing is that it's very common with us as human beings is that fear of survival. Because we now have the evolutionary brain. When we were created centuries and centuries and centuries ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, we had what we call the lizard brain, that it was just about survival. So now, sometimes we get just back to that routine of the survival, but what we have to do is take a step back and use our evolutionary mind, which is the front cortex, and say, am I really dying? Okay, so let's say I make $5,000 a month, for example, and I haven't made a penny this month. Am I gonna die? No. Well, can you survive 2, 3, 4 months? Can you survive a year if you have some savings? Can you make that work? And in the meantime, you come up with something. So it's a matter of tackling the obstacles in a way that you're in charge. You feel in charge. You have hope that you can do something about it. So let's say you have absolutely no money. Right now, the government will help you for $2,000 a month. That should give you some food. And if you're mortgage over the hill, then that means you made very unrealistic, let's say, decisions. But there's always ways how to handle it. I guess all I'm trying to say is that the brain goes to survival mode, and we gotta kind of be very mindful of that.
I can tell you a story on survival, right? And this happened the other day, just recently. There was this little gecko that came in the house. Okay, you know that little gecko lizards,
Cute.
the ones that live. Right?
Green ones, right?
Pardon?
The green ones.
Yeah, they're little like they're
mine are grey.
Like grey color here. So it came in the house, and it was like, you know, going around a million miles an hour, and the cat came along. And the cat decided, like, doesn't do this very often, I'm going to play with you, right? So he starts pushing him around the floor and playing and going nuts and all this sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, the lizard was dead. It died, right? So it was just laying there. And the cat was just playing with it and playing with it and playing with it and playing with it, and kept playing with it while it was dead, right? Still. And it's sliding around the floor, this little thing. And he'd finished with it and he walked off. And we walked over to the lizard and went to pick it up, and it started squirming, and like it was fine, right? Its reptilian brain kicked in and it played dead, this little lizard. Right? So the cat goes, no, this isn't fun anymore, because he's not trying to get away. And he was bouncing on him and everything. And he just started walking away. It's like, what?
That's amazing.
So, like,
that's amazing.
It's the same thing, right? Like that you're speaking about, when the reptilian brain, the survival mode that people go into, right?
Yes. I think that's the main fear, that we get into the survival mode. That's when fear takes over. The idea is just to calm down, because are we going to be able to eat? Are we going to be able to sleep? Yes, and yes. We may not have millions. That's fine. Who cares about millions? Really, like, are you here to have all that money and all that ego, or you're here to enjoy life, create, laugh, live, have friendships? You can have all of that without having millions and millions. I'm not saying don't make them. I like making them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, if you're doing it because there's a fear element, or because you need to prove that you've got it, then it's a different story. You know?
I'm just going to cut in on here, and it's not quite like the question that we were going to ask you, but when you said at the beginning, you said you work with people, it doesn't matter whether they earn 25,000 or 25 million. So say someone is only earning 25,000 and maybe they've just started a small business, whether it's a hobby business or a normal business, but maybe they're still working in a job and they so really want to be an entrepreneur, but they're only a $25,000 a year. I don't know whether that's US, I'm thinking Australian, so it's even less in US. What do you say to someone like that to actually get them to the next level, you know, especially if maybe the money is just going to be helping them to survive? How do you get them to the next level?
Okay, so we have 4 workshops that we'll be doing online starting June. One of them is how to create wealth and have wealth and keep wealth. Creating is one thing, keeping is another. So there are very different ways. So everybody starts from somewhere. Nobody became multimillionaire by just like that, unless it was inheritance. So there are ways, there are techniques. The other one is how to change your habits to become a successful entrepreneur. So if you're making 25,000, what can you do to make that to 50,000? You can't do 25,000 and then jump to $10 million a year. It's just not possible, because even if you were trying, your mindset wouldn't allow you that. I've never seen somebody jump from 25 to 10 million like so fast. There are a lot of ways, a lot of strategies, a lot of marketing. The other thing we teach is how to create, how to have peace of mind. This peace of mind is very close to my heart, because you have to always have peace of mind. I'm not talking about not having challenges. When you run businesses, challenges are always there. But peace of mind is that when you are in your own company and nobody's there, how do you feel? Are you always anxious, or are you excited? Are you hopeful? Are you joyful? That is peace of mind. And we teach how to increase your intuition, how to do remote viewing even. This might too much for some people. Remote viewing is that where you're sitting here and your mind, your spirit goes out there and you literally see what is happening somewhere else. And when you're able to increase your intuition, you are able to make good decisions. Decision making is another big one for businesses. And the other one is how to create your desired life. For some people, to have enough money to retire comfortably and send the children to school, that is comfort to them. That's their desired life. Nobody is having the same goal. Everybody wants to live comfortably, but they don't have the same goals. Somebody might say, I want to make $5 million by the time I'm this age, or I want to have $10 million in assets by this age. That's different. Somebody else might say, I just want to have $50,000 for my kid to go to university. I want to make sure my mortgage is paid off and have enough money for my comfortable retirement. It's doable. These are all doable. So my idea is take a step, think of what you want, and get coaching. I have lots of coaches. JT is one of my best coaches. He's number one. I started mostly with him. I had some other coaches before, but I started with him. I have some billionaire coaches, and it's fantastic. Everybody needs a coach. As he always says, you know, if you're running for Olympics, you can't just go there unprepared. You need to have 7, 8 coaches before you get there. So that's the same idea everywhere.
Sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know we had a conversation about this as well. Like, what were billionaires saying about you and your business as well? Like, we're talking billionaires that were speaking to you. What did they say to you? Because you get to hang around with them, right? Like, I want to hear it live.
Are any of them single as well, too? Thanks.
Pardon, I didn't hear you, Serena.
I said, are any of them single as well?
Well, the ones I know, they're not single. One of my coaches is a billionaire. His name is Fred. I was extremely flattered and humbled. He said to me that I'm extremely wise and that I need to share my wisdom with the world. I even quoted him on the website. He has seen my website and he was fine with it. He actually thinks that I'm in a very unique situation. I'm blessed, I guess, because I know money and I know spirituality and wisdom. Sometimes they don't mix together, but I'm very very people-oriented. As human beings, we are social creatures, but I love people. Like, I just love to be with people all day long, all the time. And that's why I've always had clients. Like, if I do things on my own, I go crazy. So that's what he said. And I'm very excited about that. And I'm thinking a billionaire telling me that he doesn't have to say anything. So I was very happy about that.
And
I mean, this is one of the best ones. I've heard some other people comment, which is nice, but it was good.
I wanted everyone to hear it too, because like, if a billionaire is saying something like this about somebody, they say what they mean, right? Like they're very straight to the point. They haven't got to where they have today by an accident, right? And if they say something, they mean it. So hence the reason why I wanted other people to hear it as well today, what they said.
Thank you.
That's cool.
And you know what? He's also very humble. He's very helpful. What happens is that when your coaches are encouraging you and inspiring you, you want to do more. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And JT does the same thing. He's always encouraging people, inspiring to be their best. He's driven and he works 20 hours a day. And I'm thinking, how many hours do I work? So it's like your coaches got to be role models for you. So
they do, 100%, 100%. So now, like, I know we've spoken a lot about emotions as well, right? Like, in the various different emotions that people are feeling and emotions around money and things like that. So how do you think, like, right now, like, some people may have lost their job, or their business may have dipped a little bit as a result of what's happened in the world. And, there's various different types of situations where people have, leveraged property and all this type of stuff. And, that these people might be saying, rent's reduced. I know one of my friends who's got a penthouse apartment, he was paying like $800-900 a week for. Now he's paying $450 for this penthouse apartment in Scarborough, right? And it's like beach view, like oceanfront, beautiful. So
that's
like
$900. That's not a lot. 900 times 4, that's $3,800. Like, add the 2 days for the month, that's less than 4,000. That's very good.
Now it's 50%. It's even better.
So it's a good position.
Yeah, it's good, right? However, it's like, a lot of people that own these properties, right? They've, they might have no debt on it, some people, but some people might even have it leveraged and tied to several properties, and, they might be having some financial troubles, right? And there might be some serious emotions around it as well. Do you think, like, what can people do to kind of cope emotionally as well, to sort of get them, and financially to get through the times at the moment that are happening now?
Okay, so there are 3 things that I will address. Every single person has to know their cash flow. What are their expenses in terms of fixed expenses, and what are their discretionary expenses? Discretionary expenses are dining out, traveling, having wine, which I love. Right? You don't have to drink wine. You don't have to eat out. You don't have to travel. But if it's a lifestyle, you have to absolutely know your fixed expenses. Number 2, you have to know your net worth. A lot of people, oh yeah, I got a couple of properties here. The mortgage, I think it's, I don't know, was it 102? So I don't know, something like that. No, write down exactly when is it coming due? What is the interest rate? Are you paying weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? There are ways you can shorten the amortization. Your net worth is absolutely crucial. Number 3, the most important, your risk tolerance. Can you, if we did an analysis, can you take a risk 10%, 20%, 50%, 5%, 0, 100%? So if I'm buying 5 properties and I'm thinking I'm going to double my money in 2 years, that's fantastic. What if it dipped? Can I take the risk? If you have not done risk analysis before you jump to these investments, then you didn't do a good job, basically. You have to know your risk tolerance. Let's say 2008, the market crashed. Everything went down 40, 50%. Some things went down like 80%. But if you had a risk tolerance of 40, 50% and the money tanked, you knew that you had taken that risk. you could wait until it comes up. A lot of people pulled money out and they lost for good. It was a loss forever. If real estate is down right now, so the property value is down. If you sell it, you're cashing in the loss. If you work with your tenants, let's say, and you take less, you will have these tenants for good. And actually in the future, you will have more money because now you have this network of people that they love you and trust you because at the time when everything was down, you gave them a break. They will have, I'm not a real estate guru. I cannot say like specifically, but generally speaking, if you know your risk tolerance and if you're good with people, you have those clients. They're going to give you other clients. I mean, it's all about people, business. I don't care what type of business we're in. We're always in the business of people, right? We're in the people's business. If you're selling shoes or cars or houses or the stocks, you're in the people's business. It's that simple. So risk tolerance, your net worth statement, and your budget. Something I wanted to add about your net worth statement is we have three types of assets. One is cash assets, anything to do with cash and like short term. Investment assets could be real estate, could be stock markets, could be like certain tax preferential investments. Your house also, well, your house doesn't qualify for investments per se, but some people could put it there. And then you have your personal assets, which is your principal residence, your boats, your yachts, your motorbikes, if you have cars and all of that. You always have to know what your net worth is and what your risk tolerance is. If you do that, you will always come up on time. Yes, sometimes you will lose, but then there are times when you make the return would be double or triple. So it's proper financial planning, proper having accountants, financial planners, lawyers to have your will, to have your powers of attorney. All of this is part of the equation.
So question, because you're touching on the subject, I know JT always, because he's my coach as well, says, you know, you have to know your numbers. For 5 years, I've heard that coming from him to people. And of course, the right brainers are the worst people to know their numbers because it's just not there. It's a left brain thing. You know, the numbers are like, oh my God, it's boring, a bit too much overwhelming. So you focus on everything else. You're very creative. You create a business, sometimes using just guts and instinct. But then somebody says, so how much do you work? How much do you make per month? And you're like, I don't know, ask my accountant, you know. So no. What can a person do that is actually like that? Because that's been my thing for 5 years. I mean, I'm a lot better than what I used to be, but you can't just say, know your numbers and then, you know, click, just swap over, turn the switch and be able to know how to do it. What can people do to really understand this concept if it's not their thing, the right brainers?
Says know your numbers, but let's break it down. I think that's why some people may feel overwhelmed not knowing what that means. So one, it depends if you're advertising. Let's say you're putting, I don't know, $200 a month on Facebook advertising, and then you make $2,000. That's, so you put 200, you get 2,000 back. That's knowing your number. Now, is it worth it? Yes, because you got $1,800 worth of business. But if that happened in 3 years, while you put 200 and 3 years later, I don't know, you have to do more numbers. Working with accountant is fantastic, but you have to kind of get on with it. Like you have to know yourself to some extent. Like Oprah, for example, she never lets anyone else write a check. She writes all the checks because she knows. So the best way is you break it down, your personal, then your business. So you say, my business, I spent $4,000 this month and I brought in $25,000. Or I put in $4,000, I did not bring in anything. So it's a loss. So you do that every week, every month, and then you have an average for your year, but you do the same thing for personal. So if you're constantly trying without a plan, that means you don't have a plan. You have to have a strategy. I had another coach, Kevin France is another very wonderful coach for business.
He's my coach too.
Yes, and he's all about strategy. He kept talking, well, what about the, I go, what? I just told you this is not specific enough, not detailed enough. So get the coaches or get the people to tell you exactly what it is. And then you go with that. You know, as JT says, you got to be coachable, right? So you have to say, okay, I don't know this. I like to know this. For me, technology is a big thing. I don't know too much about it. I use it, but it's a big hassle for me. So I'm starting to learn slowly. I just heard the other day that for us to integrate a concept very, very well, we have to hear it 7 times. I thought it was only 2 or 3 times, but it's 7 times. So if I'm hearing ClickFunnels, what is ClickFunnels? Is it a funnel? Is it a click? What is it? Like, what is a sales lead? What is this lead? Like, because I never used technology for my business before, but now I'm going to. And so I have to learn. It's the same thing. All the very rich, they know money. They know how to count in terms of like numbers, how to count, how to calculate. Not to put 2 and 2 together, but the actual way that they do it. So you got to learn. It's part of the journey. That's what I would say. So just the same way it's part of the journey for me to learn about technology.
Great. I love it. This is really great. Like, are you guys, everyone that's watching this live, are you guys getting lots from this, by the way? If you are, I mean, you know, just type value into the comments so that we can know, because Armineh's come on here today. She's sharing her wealth of knowledge, and she gets like billionaires say that she's got to spread more words to people that are on the live streams here and all around the internet and different places, right? So what I want you guys to do is I want you to share the stream, type value into the comments if you're getting some value from it as well, from Armineh today. And we're getting it, value. Here we go.
That's wonderful. Send me some hearts. Send me some hearts.
Your mum is on again, Jarrod, and she's getting really good value. I think she wants to be a billionaire now. She's posting as you're talking.
Yeah.
Armineh, she said things.
Billionaire, I don't know. That's a long way. The billionaire, if it comes, I'll count my blessings. But my time is not going to be utilized for become a billionaire. Let's put it that way. But who knows? If we're talking, maybe it will come to pass.
I just thought I would marry one day, you know, don't worry about it. Just, you know, work hard and then find a person with all the money and let's get married.
Serena, I have to share something with you. When I was a teenager, before I actually came to Canada, I told my mom, I said, you know what? I'm just going to marry a millionaire and I'm never going to work and I'm never going to go to school. And my mom said, no, that's not what's going to happen. I said, I'm telling you that's what's going to happen. She said, no. I said, yes. I said, I'm just going to marry a millionaire. That's all. At the time, I mean, this is a very long time ago. Well, I never got married anyway. But my mother said, no, you need to have education and you need to be financially independent on your own. And I said, no. Anyway, she won the argument because she said, okay, let's say that you are going to marry a millionaire. If you are educated and if you have more independence, you can teach your children better. That idea really got to me. I thought, yeah, I can educate my children better if I'm educated. So that was good, but I never got married and I never had children. So I kept it all for myself. Very selfish.
That seems to be the norm nowadays as well too. Same here. But I'm still, you know, like I sort of figured that, you know, there still might be someone out there that just, you know, just as while I'm indulging in, you know, business creation and enjoying myself, you know, like, but then something like this happens, you sort of think, would that millionaire have come in handy right now, you know, like, without sort of, you know, not worrying about security or anything. But anyway, it's good to be like this.
But I have to tell you something about very rich people. They are very, very cautious that want to just share their wealth that way. If they were to marry someone, they want to make sure that that person loves them a lot, or some sort of a transaction. I get this from you, you get this from me, and it's a good match to be married because we have fame together or we have more money together or something. But the ones that I know, I've met a lot of millionaires and some billionaires, but a lot of millionaires are extremely, extremely cautious about their money, and even after they die, how they're gonna have their money left, not just to the spouse, but there's lots of ways what to do. And They're thinking about that because they're
Kevin,
just not going to hand it to someone.
Like that too. I don't know if you've heard from Kevin what he's doing, but he talks about like what he wants to do with his as well, and he's very similar minded like that.
Kevin, you mean France?
Yeah.
Well, of course, it takes a long time to accumulate a lot of wealth. It doesn't just come in like 2 months unless we win the lottery, but that's very rare.
Yeah, then they spend it straight away anyway if you do win the lottery, because they don't know how to keep it and retain it.
Sounds like you need a financial planner, Serena. You got to find somebody in Australia. Sounds like you need a financial planner.
Yeah, no, I'm a lot better than what I was at the beginning, and now I've got a sheet set up that just puts all the information that I need in there that I need to know, so I can just have a look and go, oh, okay, there we go. I don't have to do it myself, because it's obviously I would procrastinate at doing that sort of thing because it's not my thing. Something that you hate doing, you tend to sort of like either just get busy with other things or you forget because it's not something you normally do. So as long as you've got it there, it was in South Africa actually where our first JT said, what's your numbers? And I went, what do you mean? Like your numbers, what are you making? What are you worth? Whatever. I go, I don't know, So I had to get my accountant to send a sheet in and hand it over to Dana and said, oh, here you go. So what do I need out of it? And they're all laughing, but a lot better than what I was then.
Yeah, we're all improving, right? We're all improving. Yeah.
Yes. Well, great. This has been such an insightful session today as well, Armineh. We really appreciate you for coming on. This has been amazing. And I know everybody's got some help, like a lot of value here today as well from you and the wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us too. So really appreciate it. And the energy as well has been amazing as well. So thank you so much for jumping on. I know there'll probably be a few people here that will want to know, like, how could they maybe reach out to you and maybe work with you, or even maybe attend one of these workshops that you mentioned about that you got coming up in June. So how would someone reach out to you if they wanted to find out a little bit more?
You can check our website, wealthandwellnessglobal.com. That is wealthandwellnessglobal.com. There is a page about workshops. Actually, I'm doing one, a 3-hour live interactive one, which is free. And I'm going to give a lot of information about the other 4, the main 4. There's only 4 workshops that we're going to be doing. There are 1-day workshops, 2-day workshops, and retreats. The retreats are on hold right now. But if you take, for example, a 1-day of how to create your desired life, or you can take that for 2 days, how to create it's like much more details. You would have a blueprint, you will have everything you need, and it's interactive. I love people, so it would be open. It's going to be a smaller group for people to ask questions. The free one, it's starting on June 9th. And there's a button, it says free workshop. To the workshop page, all the information is there. And it's wealthandwellnessglobal.com, and send me a message. If we're not friends, friend me on Facebook. This page actually we have is Armineh Keshishian, but I'm moving to my business, which is ArminehGlobal, because last name is very long. People have a hard time telling my first name or calling my first name. So now it's ArminehGlobal. So it's easier to remember.
Heaps easy.
It's exciting.
And us we have a tendency to want to shorten someone's name, even if it is simple, let alone if it is a little bit harder to pronounce.
You can pronounce that, Kardashian. That's easy.
Yeah, that's easy. It's it's Keshishian. Very similar, Keshishian.
When I mentioned you to Jarrod, I sort of, because I could never, it was just such a the difference of the 2 names. Like the first name wasn't like Mary Keshishian or something. So I said Armineh Keshishian or something like that.
Yeah.
So you became one of those for a while there.
Yeah, well, to make it easy, actually, I have Armenian heritage. So all the Armenians have IAN at the end. So then you got to remember, like, it's kind of, IAN is like the son of, for example, in German or in other languages, you have Johnson, for example, or Johansson. It's like the son of Johann, son of John. It's like that, Keshishian. And Keshish in Persian means priest. That makes me a priestess, of course.
Oh,
Of course it does.
oh.
So for those of you that are joining in and you're like, oh my God, I'm vibing with Armineh and I want to come to one of these free workshops of hers, and it's 3 hours free.
It's gonna go fast. It's gonna go fast. Believe me, it's gonna go fast.
It'll go fast, and if it's anything like this interview, you know that it's going to be packed full of value. So go across to her website, which is wealthandwellnessglobal.com, and click there to register for her free workshop. And 3 whole hours worth of absolute fire. Go check that one out. And also, go and friend her on Facebook and hit her up and have a message, like have a chat with her, work out. If you're like, oh my God, I would love somebody to help me with this, just send her a message, right? Send her a message if you're really serious as well, right? Because if you want to create wealth and you want to move forward in your life, you want to get clarity on next steps, etc., and the steps that you can take to start creating your own best life, then you got to be really serious about it. So if you are really serious, go and send Armineh a message as well on Facebook, and I'm sure she'll find a way to help you out with that as well. Thank you so much for jumping in today and being of so much value to everybody today. I know they've got so much from it, and myself and Serena, and I'm speaking for Serena, we both really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure. I had so much fun. Thank you so much. And one thing I wanted to mention to the viewers is that I teach really fast. I don't know if the word teach is the right way, or say guide very fast. When I have an idea that you have shared with me, I could just tell you if you just pivot this way or that way, because my idea is to just show you the way, and then you're going to do it. I guarantee you, you're going to do it. You're not going to procrastinate. That's how I work. That's why I'm fired up. That's why I'm inspired, because I know I'm going to change a lot of habits to the best. Yes.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And we will see you later on today at 12 o'clock for the coffee time.
Bye, Facebook.
See you.
Thank you.